Ave Deus Mechanicus. Today we'll be looking at Mechanicus 2 and my impressions of it. It's a complicated game with a lot going on, but is it a worthy successor to Mechanicus 1? Let's begin by talking about what I feel are unequivocally improvements. Multiple campaigns. Having multiple campaigns is a big departure for the series, but one that I feel is kind of a natural evolution. Being able to see the grand campaign from both sides helps you to better understand the motivations of all the characters, as well as just being generally interesting, honestly, because you can better understand the society, the culture, and what motivates each faction with enough time spent inside it. Both factions are generally well served by the writing and feel fully fleshed out, both in terms of their story and their mechanics. They also have enough overlap between the two of them so that you don't feel entirely at sea when you try the other campaign. I would honestly, having played both campaigns now, I would really recommend playing the Necron campaign first. Some of the things that are going to happen in the Adeptus Mechanicus campaign are going to feel quite reactive, and occasionally you'll wonder, why did this happen? What's going on? Where has this character been? The Necron campaign does feel like it should be played first. I don't think I'm alone in feeling this way either, as discussions in Discord and other places do tend to say the same thing. It was also great to see surprise appearances from both the Leagues of Wotan and the Iron Hands Adeptus Astartes chapter. They really helped to spice up the campaign so it wasn't just constantly fighting the same selection of enemies again and again and again in different places. Overall, having multiple campaigns was a true boon for Mechanicus 2. Art direction and graphics. I feel there is absolutely a huge improvement here when compared to the first game. I'm not trying to knock the first game or say that it had a poor aesthetic. Far from it. However, what they've done here is really put their own unique stamp on what makes Adeptus Mechanicus and Necron art. Everything from the lush outdoor environments to the rad wastes to the Necron tombs feel like real places with very distinct art styles, wonderful lighting, and the addition of foliage and interactive environments. The final real piece that I totally enjoyed was the addition of a combination of in-game cinematic as well as super stylish cutscene art that uses a kind of stop-motion comic book style. I totally loved the Omnisynod and how it felt so grim, like a cathedral to the machine. Similarly, the Necron tombs felt wonderful and sort of lived in a very ironic way for undead metallic constructs. Cognition and Dominion systems. Cognition and Dominion refer to the unique resources that each faction generates. Cognition has returned from Mechanicus 1, and it is more readily generated than it was then. However, you do need to be very careful with how you use it, as you can easily starve yourself just exactly the same as Mechanicus 1. The only thing that's different is how you generate it. I particularly enjoyed how Scaevola could also add on to this by choosing to burn HP via her canticles to generate forbidden knowledge or cognition, depending on how you want to call it. This was really welcome and added another layer of mechanical depth. Dominion, this is the Necron resource, feels absolutely brilliant to play with. For the Necrons, all attacks generate Dominion, usually in proportion to the amount of damage done. Dominion then allows your Necron lords generally to do all kinds of cool things. Dominion isn't just a mountain that you scale and then stop caring about either. Particularly powerful moves will consume Dominion levels, requiring you to then regenerate it. Overall, the Cognition rework and the new Necron Dominion system both feel extremely rewarding and are something you continually care about and have to pay attention to how you manage. Talent trees. Now, this may be a point of contention, but I feel generally the Mechanicus 2 talent tree system is just as good as the Mechanicus 1 system. They are both resource systems. In Mechanicus 1, you gathered Blackstone, you paid it into a thing, your priest got a new augment, and off you went. Mechanicus 2, you get right off the gate a whole bunch of things available to you. It's not just a tree that you go down, it's like a field of grass where you just pick a patch and start developing it. I personally prefer that, although I can appreciate there are people who might like to have things a little bit more linear. There's a great deal of build variation possible as well when you choose different server arms, dynastic runes, what have you. All these things do allow you to make your priest feel fairly unique and to adapt to a playstyle that you particularly enjoy. I do have to say that I think the Mechanicus actually came off the worst in the exchange when you compare the two talent systems. Their army units get random upgrades, buffs, and veterancy levels, but you have absolutely no control over. Some missions you might have, for example, 2 Castellan robots to take. You might have as well 2 Cataphrons, a selection of Vanguard or wherever else, but it's never the same thing twice, and again, everything is always completely randomly assigned, which when you compare to the Necron system, where they have fixed units that you're constantly developing, tweaking the way that you want them to be, choosing do they have more HP, more movement, are they resistant to effects like Perturbed or snares, things like that. The Necron system just feels better, because again, you've got more granular control over it. I would also say too that the Necron Lords with their dynastic rune system and awakening talents just feel better to play in general. I hope that they do come back. I kind of doubt they will, but I hope they come back and do a slight rework to make the Tech Priest system feel more similar to how the Necron system works. I found it really cool, for example, to mix and match the runes to get unique buffs on each of my lords. It's a small thing, but it does feel like it has more customization and choice innately built into it. The Lore Buffet. Similar to Mechanicus 1, Mechanicus 2 is an absolute smorgasbord of cool references, subtle tips and hints, as well as really fundamental introduction to the lore of both sides, as well as including some of the Votann lore too. After playing a faction, even a relative newcomer to the setting of Warhammer 40,000 would feel quite at home with both the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Necrons. Helpfully too, the faithful representations of all the units and their weapon loadouts in Mechanicus 2 would make you feel very comfortable if you wanted to try out tabletop gaming after this in the new 11th edition. Everything that you see in the game is exactly as you would expect to find it on the tabletop. Right down to like the Lector Dogmatus Videx having his Magna Rail Lance. He's a Manipulus, he should have that, and in fact he does, it's great. The Necron Lords, same thing as well. I was particularly excited actually to learn lots of things about the Destroyer cult for the Necrons that I had no idea about. I even picked up a pile of new Votann lore, which I'm going to be making a video about very soon for the veteran Battle Brothers of the Athacus chapter. The controversial and the just plain bad. I will say, again, I didn't find a lot of bad stuff here. Most of the things I'm going to raise as problems are really more like controversies or small issues. One thing I do want to address, having played through the entirety of the AdMech campaign and being most of the way through the Necron campaign, I think the game is actually very ill-served by being called Mechanicus 2 at all. I think if this game had been called something like Mechanicus, Forge World, or, I don't know, Robot People Make Bad Choices 2, the game would have been in general just better received. Labeling it as Mechanicus 2 creates a certain sense of things that you're going to have, things that are going to be carried forward. And Mechanicus 2 is a very, very different game from Mechanicus 1. It's a huge departure mechanically, in terms of the campaign, in terms of how they chose to approach things from like the dungeon exploration. Everything is very, very different. I don't think it was right to call it Mechanicus 2. It should have been called something else that kept a sort of hint of where its lineage came from, still expressed that it was going to be a very new and different game. Again, talking about that Necron campaign, it really feels like the Necrons are kind of the main characters or protagonists, if you will, and the Adeptus Mechanicus are acting as their foils rather than being main characters in their own right. That's not to say they don't get great treatment and that they're not interesting. They are, obviously. However, the Necron campaign does feel like the more important one. The music. This was a controversy that, in my opinion, did not need to exist. Mechanicus 1 is synonymous with pulsing beats, sinister synths, and all kinds of amazing, really amazing music that is super thematic for what the Adeptus Mechanicus are. They're a bunch of ultra-gothic tech priests flying around in cathedrals worshipping machines, right? The Mechanicus 1 soundtrack completely fit the game, the vibe, the aesthetic, the whole thing. Mechanicus 2. The intro screen has exactly what you expect, this booming, attention-grabbing main track. And then you get into the game and it all kind of just fades away. There's a lot of really nice thematic work, things that feel good. The cutscene music in general is quite well chosen, but there's nothing like Children of the Omnissiah, for example, which is still in my regular playlist years on from the launch of Mechanicus 1. I don't know the name of a single track on Mechanicus 2, and I probably never will. No custom tech priests. This was a very controversial move, and there are going to be lots of people who absolutely hate this. The first game allowed you to take a fully customizable cohort of up to 6 tech priests and build them exactly how you wanted them to be. You used all of them simultaneously as well, which is a big departure from the Mechanicus 2 formula. Mechanicus 2 has opted for something quite different. What they've done is they've taken the former leader tech priests, such as Archmagos Dominus, Faustinius, Lector Dogmatus, Videx, and Subdominatus, Kepra, and put them in as sort of army leaders rather than cooperative tech priests in a cohort. Each tech priest will go into a skirmish mission with about 20 points. For example, a unit of Scutari, of 5 Scutari is worth 5 points. A Castellan robot is worth 2. A Corpuscari Electro Priest is worth 1. And you build your armies like that. This is sort of similar to Mechanicus 1, but its own spin. Now, for me, I kind of enjoyed taking an established character and then putting my own fingerprints on them. Some people are not going to like this. One thing I do miss, I have to say, from the first game was actually having the tech priests all working together. That felt really cool and allowed you to do, you might build one as a Lex Mechanic, you build another as a Dominus. I think they probably could have kept that system, but I do see what they were doing. They're kind of giving you sort of like a kill team feeling, kill team of course being a tabletop game, sort of a kill team feeling approach to the missions in the game, and that it definitely works. There's no question about it, but it is very different from Mechanicus 1, and it is going to turn off some of the fans of Mechanicus 1. Newcomers to Mechanicus 2 are not going to notice any trouble at all and go straight into it, because it is a very fun system, both for the Adeptus Mechanicus and certainly doubly so for the Necrons. Changed mission design. This was another very big change. Mechanicus 1 featured a kind of choose-your-own-adventure dungeon layout. You'd go into a Necron tomb. You would then choose your path toward wherever the objectives were in your map. This allowed for kind of risk versus reward gameplay style. For me, that was kind of a miss in Mechanicus 1 because often the paths you could take, it was just better in general to take the fastest path to get you to the objectives you had to clear. Usually, herring off into side rooms was a pretty good way to just fail a mission. The additional combats weren't worth it. The risks from failing to decipher a Necron rune, for example, often gave minimal kind of feeling rewards that didn't really have a huge impact. Every so often you discover a piece of tech, and that was really cool. But it was rare. It was rare, and it just wasn't worth the risk. I would say 95% of the time, you were best served, as I said, to go straight for the objective. Mechanicus 2 has opted for a linear system. This linear system follows kind of usually skirmish, dilemma. A dilemma is something where what you'll do is you'll be presented with an issue. For example, one of my favorite ones, there were quite a few actually I really enjoyed. One of my favorite ones was this Scutari. He's gone mad. He's totally spaced out, like traumatized by something. And the tech priest consults with the other tech priest about what to do with the Scutari. You've got options like lobotomize him, essentially, turn him into a walking servitor. You can try and reboot his combat wetware. You can do all kinds of different things. I found that better for mostly the same result as what I wound up doing 99% of the time in Mechanicus 1 anyway. So again, skirmish, dilemma, skirmish, rest point where you get another set of 4 choices, usually like heal your tech priest, recruit a unit, decrease the vigilance meter, which is kind of like an overall danger scaling. I found it worked, but I definitely get that there are people who are going to resent having the illusion of choice, because that really is what it was, having that illusion of choice taken away from them. You still get choice, again, via your options you take during the mission dilemmas, but it is not as much go your path. And there are definitely people who are not going to like that. Missed opportunities with destructible elements. When it was first announced that the skirmish maps were going to feature destructible elements, I was really enthused about it. Another of my favorite of the turn-based tactics Warhammer games is Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, which we're going to see a sequel to in the next couple of years. I'm really excited about that. Anyway, Chaos Gate Demon Hunters had a really cool cover and destructible elements system. Lots of pits that you could knock enemies into to not take them out. Lots of exploding things. Lots of pillars you could knock over for disastrous effects on the enemy and yourself if you weren't careful. So when Mechanicus 2 talked about adding that gameplay element, I was really enthused. However, it came out just being completely underutilized. I can count probably 2 times in all the missions I've run that I've cared about the interactable elements at all. There was one, I think, maybe 2, where there were some barrels. And by exploding the barrels, I had a small impact on the outcome by adding some more fire. That was just kind of it. It's a totally underutilized element that really probably should be cooked again, I think. It just doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Sometimes being able to destroy the cover is handy, I will say that. But in terms of like what the exploding bits do, what the pillars do, it doesn't matter. You can't even choose the direction to knock the pillars down in. Again, that was another feature of Chaos Gate Demon Hunters that was really exciting. You could choose which way you're going to knock things. You could break walls. You could break doors. There was all kinds of really awesome stuff, and Mechanicus 2 would have benefited enormously. Sending a Castellan robot through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man would have been an amazing moment. And it just totally fell flat. For me, this is a complete loss and a missed opportunity. The Overworld Campaign Map. This is another case of something that had the potential to be really cool, but wound up being kind of annoying busy work, honestly. It's a nice piece of eye candy, and it does have a kind of grand campaign feel, which is what I was expecting when I initially booted up the game. But really all it winds up being is just a chance to assign chores. Every so often, even like an assignment will pop up and it'd be like, oh, I have to go off and do this super cool mission. I'll come back next turn. You'll get a little bit of an update, and that's kind of the most exciting thing you're going to do with this campaign map. Even something that could be kind of cool, like the Forge Temple defenses, winds up being, again, just another, well, here's a thing that's cropped up on my map. I couldn't do anything about it, really. You know, I'm just gonna do this thing. I guess I could also do some territorial expansion, I suppose, and farm some points. You know, when you compare it to something, again, when you get those grand campaign maps, even something like Dawn of War 1's Soulstorm, right? Or Total War Warhammer 3's grand campaign map, you get a really cool experience. That really cool experience is utterly missing from Mechanicus 2's grand campaign map, and I kind of wonder, having played the game, why they bothered to include it in the first place. Again, it looks great. You can see ships from the Basilicon Astra, the Adeptus Mechanicus fleet, bombarding the planet. You can see Necron tombs poking up out of the ground. There's all these kind of tantalizing little details that ultimately don't wind up adding anything to the game other than, again, a piece of eye candy. A nice one, but wholly useless and unrewarding feeling, sadly. Missed opportunity again. My recommendation. Overall, Mechanicus 2 comes out as a worthy successor to Mechanicus 1, and probably, if I was going to give it a score, a very solid 8.5 out of 10. The improvements to the Cognition system and the introduction of the Dominion system, the new talent trees, as well as the new mission design all worked very well for me and created a game that I was very happy to come back and play hour after hour. Again, I felt that the tension between the two storylines, where the Necron campaign felt like the more important one, the useless busy work of the campaign map kind of made me take some points away, but overall, this game reads as a love letter to both the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Necron faction, and was just in general a joy to play. This is an easy recommendation despite my few nitpicks about it. Looking at things like the destructible terrain elements, or the somewhat rushed and useless grand campaign map, I have to wonder if this game was not rushed to meet the Steam Warhammer Skulls event for 2026. Still, making a game as a third-party developer for Games Workshop is a fraught experience and absolutely no guarantor of success. Casado Games has taken a very ambitious step here in terms of their mechanics, in terms of their art, and made something that's absolutely beautiful. If you have time, please as well, I encourage you to take a moment and leave them a review on Steam if you choose to buy it there, or wherever else you choose to buy it. Reviews to this game, I really feel like there's a cohort of Mechanicus 1 players that felt betrayed that they essentially didn't get Mechanicus 2 Electric Boogaloo, right? I'm not one of them. I'm very happy to have new experiences, provided they feel like they're fleshed out and well thought. In that case, I found very little other than, again, the few small problems I had to complain about in Mechanicus 2 overall. Well done, Casado Games, and I really hope too, given the little dangling bits of unresolved plot they left hanging, that they've got some DLC cooking up that we're going to hear news about very, very soon. Scaevola! Where are you, Scaevola? As always, my friends, if you enjoyed this video, the like, the share, the hype, and the subscribe are the dark currencies of this age in which we find ourselves. If you would care to devote me one of those four, I would be very, very appreciative. And that concludes this review, my friends. Ave Deus Mechanicus. You honor me, and I can't wait to see you all again very, very soon.